So let's go ahead with the today's agenda. So if we're talking about the day 6 agenda or the today's agenda, so we'll be starting with the data cleaning and pre-processing in R, which means how you can clean your data in and pre-process your data in R. Then we will be talking about the data visualization with ggplot2. Like if you see the job description of few companies, so you will find that in the data visualization topic they mention the ggplot2. So that is the power of ggplot2. You will find that most of the data visualization, in the job description, when it comes to data visualization, they mention few things like Tableau, Power BI, right, or Plotly, like for Python. Like for R there is ggplot2, as well as the R shiny is there. That is nothing but the somewhat similar to the Flask in Python. If we're talking about the basic statistical concepts in R, so we'll also see these concepts, as well as we also see the advanced statistical concepts in R. Okay, like how you can implement the regression. Okay, that is, we can say that the and how we can find out the uh, the confidence interval, prediction intervals in R. So that we will gonna see in the today's session. Also we'll talk about the ANOVA, analysis of variance, and the non-parametric methods as well, and how you can go ahead with. And lastly we'll be talking about the time series analysis. Okay, like few who do those who don't know what is time series analysis is, basically in the time series analysis, okay, we have the data which is totally arranged in a timely manner, like a weekly data or monthly data or yearly data you will find. And we have some algorithms in time series itself, so you can apply those algorithm to go ahead with for the forecasting part, or in short you can say prediction part, right? So guys, let's go ahead with our agenda and explore this one by one, this all the topics. So guys, are you ready? Have you installed R Studio and R in your system? How many of you install R Studio and R in your system? So today we'll be working with the R in R Studio. So that's why we need R. As we know in like in the previous session, now we'll be using first dataset, which is nothing but the company dataset, and we'll be exploring that dataset, which means that we'll be cleaning that dataset, right? So let's go ahead. Like there are few steps to simply go ahead with that particular dataset. So like over here, like I can simply start writing the code, or in the first initially, if you don't know how to read the dataset, so you can simply use this the automatic option. So here you will see that in the R Studio there is import dataset option is there, like in the environment. If you see over here, see here we have a import dataset option. Now you can simply use the second option. Okay, like if we're talking about the CSV file, so we'll be able to read the CSV file by using this particular function, read underscore CSV, right? So now let's go and find out the data that we wanna basically insert. Now for that, what we can do is we can simply go over here in the day 6, and simply I'll be clicking to this particular data set, which is nothing but the company data set, and I simply click to open. And now here you will find that automatically, okay, my code is ready. Automatically my code is ready over here, and this is how my data looks like. If you see, this is how my data looks like. So here you will find that starting with the first column with the name, nothing but the account number, then we have the account name, status, gross income, then now wages, then complete and date. So here you can see that. Let's go and import the data set. So basically we clicked few these things. Okay, like first row as the name of the columns, like this. Okay, like we did few things. Now let's go and import it, and here you can see we got the data, okay, in the view. Now let's go over here, because okay, this is the initial step to read my data set. That's why we don't have any code over here. So we can simply copy this code from here just for you, because I'll be sharing this particular file with you, so you will understand all the things about the how you can read the data, how you can collect the data, right? So let us go ahead and read this particular data, right? So this is my the code for reading the data, and this is of simply, here you can see that the library, with the help of this particular library reader, okay, I simply able to read this particular data which is in my particular folder, right? Now what I can do is I can simply, okay, many times you will find that, okay, like lot of data, like almost all the data you will see that that is in my particular this particular column, which is nothing but the day 6 column. And here you will get the all the 4 data set. You will find that company data set, oscillation index, then we have the tightening and WCAT data set we have, right? Now what we can do is we can simply put one thing over here, which is nothing but the set WD. So set WD is for the setting the working directory. Now here you can see I'm just setting my working directory over here in this particular folder, because each and every time I'll have to read the data from that particular from this particular path. So instead of adding this particular path, okay, like each and every time while we are reading the data, so instead of this we can simply use this one line of code for each and every time while we are reading the data set from this particular path. So what I can simply do is, okay, let's again clear this particular thing and again clear this environment as well. Okay, now here if you go and you just click to this set WD, just click anywhere on this particular line and simply go to the run. And here you can see, let me show you. Now we just able to change our working directory. So for that we can simply see the our current working directory by using get WD. Okay, by using get WD, just use control plus enter to run this particular line of code. Otherwise you can simply use this option as well. Now here you can see I just changed my current working directory from any different working directory to this particular path. Means now this folder is my current working directory. So this folder is nothing but my this folder, and here you will find that all the data set, right, which we will be using for the particular in this particular session, right guys? Now let us go ahead, and as we know, let's go and read this particular library, which is nothing but the reader library, to read the data set. Second thing is that read the company's data set, right? This is my company's data set, and to see my company data set, what I can do is I can simply click to this particular line of code, which means view company's data set, or I can simply click to this option in the second window. If you see, like the company data set is there, total how many observations are there? 27 observations are there, and total 7 variables, which means total 7 columns are there, right? So let's click to this instead of going with this view code. So for that, okay, because like I'm showing you the multiple ways for doing this particular thing. So here you go. Now basically if you see, like as we discussed earlier, in my data set we have the total 7 variables, which means 7 columns we have. And if you see in my data set, there are few missing values are there. Okay, there are few missing values are there, NA values. So NA values are nothing but the missing values, right? Okay, so now simply we'll pre-process this all the data set. Okay, we'll go ahead and we'll clean all the data set. Okay, so okay, that's why I'm showing you this data set frequently. Now let us go ahead and now starting by the initial state, or you can say that the initial exploration of your data. So like in the initial state, what are the different things you can do? You can go ahead to see your data, how your data looks like. So just by looking out the data, you can see that the many things you just notice. Okay, like the how many categorical variables are there. So if you see account number A, B, 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 C like this is a categorical variable. Account name is a categorical variable, means the text data you see. Status is categorical variable. Then we have the complete yes or no, not like this. See, this is again the categorical variable we have, right? This is a date time feature we have, like, so you will find that so many different things. So just by viewing the data, now after this, after viewing the data, so if you see that, we can simply go and find out the summary of my data set. Okay, we can simply go and find out the summary of my data set. So what I can do is I can simply go ahead with summary. Okay, I can simply go with summary. If you see, okay, just enter it, and in the summary just mention the data name, which is nothing but the company data set. So here if you find, okay, I got the data set with here one option. If you see, okay, like this is showing me all the data set, right? This is showing me all the data set. So let's go and click to this, and let's go and run this. Now if you see, right, we got the all the summary for this all the data set. How many columns are there in my data set? Total 7 column, isn't it? So here you see starting with the account number. Okay, because account number is nothing but the character or categorical data in short. So you will find that, see, because of the character, so it just show me the class and mode for this particular thing. And like it's not able to get any summary for from that particular categorical variable, because if you see in the summary, what are the different things we are calculating? Like we are calculating the mean, quartiles, median, maximum value, right? So these are the different things we are gonna find out by using the summary, right? So if the data is, you know the categorical, then we can't go ahead with, and we can't find out the mean for this particular data. Let's say account name, we can't find out the mean for this particular data, right? Okay, also for the status, we can't find out the status for this mean for this particular variable, right? But we can find out the mean for this particular gross income. We can find out the mean for particular this num wages, right? Right. So these are the different things we can do by using this particular simple line of code, which is nothing but the summary and our data set name inside it, right? So for that first three columns, if you see these, all these first three columns are nothing but the categorical. That's why you can see that the only characters are here. Now in the second thing, if you see that we have the gross income. Now basically minimum value for the gross income is going to be the one, maximum value is going to be a very high. Okay, like there is e raised to plus 13, which means that after this digits, okay, go after 30 digits. Okay, so 1450, then you will find that the around 9 and then you will find that that particular point, okay, or the decimal point you will see. So that is a thing, because this is a company's data set. So you will find that the like maybe the gross income for the companies may be in the billions, right? Then we have the wages. Okay, number of wages if you see. So here you can see that we have the first quartile, the minimum value is simply 0, we can say, and maximum quartile, maximum value is going to be the 6-digit number. Okay, so that is the thing. So if you see over here, how many NA values are there? How many NA values are there? Like let me show you over here. Okay, how many NA values are there? One value, right? So we can simply find out the is there any missing value or not by using the summary as well in R Studio. So let's go over here and see is there any missing values or not. So we were talking about this particular thing. Okay, this particular column. Okay, so here you can see that we have the missing values present, like how many NA values are there. So if we're talking about the different categorical columns, so we can't find out the missing values by using this particular line of code, which is nothing but the summary of the data set, right? So after understanding the summary, let us go ahead, okay, and see the structure of the data. So how you can see the structure of the data by using the structure method. Okay, just use the str to get the structure of your data. Okay, now if you see, this is my company data set. Let's double click to this, and here you can see, let's go and run this. Now basically we got the structure of the data. Okay, we got the structure of the data. So if you see that we have the structure, like we have the first few columns, which are nothing but the categorical columns, right? Then we have the two numerical columns we have, and then we also have the categorical column after that. Okay, so if we're talking about the names for those columns, so you will find that these are the names for these columns, and you will find that the, those columns which are categorical, so you will find that the columns character. Okay, and those columns which are nothing but the, the numerical one, you will find that the columns double, right? So that is the difference over here. Now after these, okay, let us go ahead and understand the further part of the data, right? So let's say if you wanted to find out the types of data structure in R. Okay, here you will find that the data structure, how you can see the data structure. Now if you wanted to find out the types of data structure, so you can simply go ahead with class, and you can use your company data set. Okay, and let's go and control plus enter. Now here you can see the type of your data frame is going to be the data frame. See, is going to be the data frame, because we imported this particular data frame, okay, from this particular CSV format. Okay, so basically here we got the data frame. Okay, like itself, the structure of this, the type of the data structure for this is going to be a data frame, right? After this, how to find out the shape of the data? Anyone? Anyone? Like in Python, if we wanted to find out the shape of the data, simply we use the argument which is nothing but the our data frame dot shape, right? But here, if you wanted to find out the dimension or shape of your data, so how you can find out? Yes, absolutely. So like not the shape, definitely DIM. By using the dimension, we can simply go ahead and find out the shape of the data. If you wanted to go ahead with, find out the shape, okay, or the dimension of your data, you can simply use the dimension. Okay, so DIM, you can simply say this. Let's go and run these, and here you can see, okay, like for not for this, in the console, you will find that, okay, this particular thing over here, guys. Like this is nothing but the dimension of the data. So if you see that total how many observations are there, so if you see, so there are total 22 observations are there, and here you will find that total 7 variables are there and total 7 classes are there, right? Now after this, okay, uh, what are the different, the exploration, visual exploration you can do? Like we can plot the histogram, right? We can plot the box plot, right? We can plot the bar plot, yes, and we can do so many different things, but like we will see all those in the, in the data visualization using ggplot2. But for now, okay, we'll be talking about the, the few plots. So first, let's go and plot the histogram for this, okay, to show you. So here you can see that, okay, I'm just plotting the histogram. Hmm. Now, I just wanted to go ahead with one simple column. Okay, so let's say if I wanted to go ahead with the, you know, the gross income. So this is my code, and let's go and run this. See, in the gross income, you will find that the this is going to be the histogram. So if you see, if you wanted to zoom this particular thing, so you can see the your gross income like this. Okay, like for all the company, if you see, like most of the companies, okay, have the gross income is around, somewhere here. Okay, and for just few companies you will find that the gross income over here, right? This is nothing but the gross income for the companies, right? So if we wanted to understand, this is nothing but the frequency, which means how many companies, okay, having the gross income like this, how many companies having the gross income like this. So if you see the frequency for this particular, you know the bar, I can say, so here more than 20 companies you will find that the, having the gross income which is less, but only few companies which is having a gross income, okay, like the 14 digits, like in 40 digits, if you see. So that's how you can read this particular plot. Okay, now if you wanted to go ahead with the further plot, which is nothing but, let's say, box plot, so you can simply go ahead with, okay, box plot. And again you can use the company data set, simply use the dollar symbol to just find out the, to just take or extract any particular column. So here we'll go with the this particular column. Okay, so let's go and run these, and here you can see the box plot. It's like the very much in the one line, like if you see, because, okay, like if you see over here in my histogram in my previous plot, so here you can see that most of your data is like most of your company having a gross income is somewhere which is, very much close to, very much near to zero. Okay, that is the thing. Okay, like the four digits value, 5 digits value, 6 digit value, like this. Okay, if we're talking about the, our box plot, so you will find like this, just only one line. Because what are the different things we can find out from the box plot? Like as we saw, what are the different things we can find out? We can find out this multiple things. We can find out the minimum value, we can find out the first quartile, the median, we can find out the third quartile, and maximum value. Total 5 things we can just find out. Okay, now here if you see, because of the range is quite high, like if you, imagine the range for this particular thing. Okay, if you imagine the range, okay, starting with 0 to, there are, 5 digit value, 1 into e raised to 5, which is nothing but there is 5 digit value. So here if you see 2 into e raised to 5 like this, so which means that, okay, you will get the very very high value. Okay, so if you compare this range, so like let me like explain by drawing it. Okay, so let's say, okay, if you see this particular range starting with, let's say, 0. Okay, somewhere here we have the 0. So if you go ahead like this, so you will find that over here, okay, like 1 into e raised to 5 means 1. Okay, some issue, I guess. Okay, 1 2 3 4 5, right? So here you will find that the 5 zeros are there, okay, after one. So that's why 1 into e raised to 5. Okay, this value is. Okay, if you go ahead like this, so 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, like this, up to so on. Okay, after so many digits, okay, after so many things, like somewhere here 1 into e raised to, okay, like here, like I am facing few some issues for drawing this. So what I can do is I can simply open the whiteboard, right? So simply open the whiteboard so I can explain this particular thing with you, because here you will see that the only a single line as a bar plot. Okay, and here you will find that the few points, okay, this few points, anyone can tell me the, the interpretation or a few point, this point or this point somewhere here. If you see, these are nothing but the outliers. These are nothing but the outliers. Okay. So as I told you in the previous session, if you wanted to detect the outlier, you can simply plot the box plot and you will able to visualize are there any outlier in your particular column or not, right? So that's how you can see. Mm, okay. Okay, now here you can see, okay, what is the common shape for the box plot? Either if you see the box plot like this, okay, if you see, okay, the box plot like this, right? This is my box plot and this is my, minimum value, you can say. This is my minimum value, this is my maximum value. Okay, if you see, this is my, okay, this particular thing, you can say this is my first quartile, this is my median, or you can say that the second quartile, right? And here you will see that the Q3, which is nothing but the third quartile. So if we're talking about the Q1, so you will find that the 25th percent observation, which means that from here, from this minimum point, you will find that how many observations are there. So 25% observations in this particular region, in this particular region. Okay. Then next 25% observation in this particular region, if you see, right? So that is why you will see that this is also known as a 50% or the Q2. Okay, and the next 25% observation in this particular region, that is nothing but the Q3. So that's why we also say it like 75 75th percent observation over. And finally, if you see over here, so you will see that the next 25%, this is for the normal range, right? This is for the normal range. Sometimes you might get the data, okay, like this. Okay, somewhere here you will find that the few data points, okay, and these data points which are nothing but the outlier, okay, which are nothing but the outlier, if you see. So in our case, okay, because of the range is quite high, okay, like let's say if we have the range starting with the 0, and then you will find that, okay, let me, okay, so here after this, if you see, we got the, let's say, 10,000. Okay, then if you see, go over here, you will find that the, you know the 1 lakh, right? After this, if you go over here, you will find that the values in, billion. If you see over here, so you will find that the values in, okay, so if you see the values is in billion, okay, like say, let's say 13, 1 into e raised to 13, which means that there are 13 zeros are there. Okay, so you will see that the values which are in billions, right? So if most of the, the gross income for the companies, okay, let's say will be like this, okay, that doesn't matter, because if you go ahead with the, the range for these, so you will find that this particular range is very high range. Okay, only few company you will find that the 2 3 companies, okay, over here. Okay, like we are talking about the Fang, and now we are talking about the Mang, right? The Meta is there, we have the Apple, Google is there, right? Microsoft is there, right? So these are the few companies you will find that the, if you see the revenue of this company, income of this company, you will find that the, this, the income for this particular company is very high. Okay, so if you combine the, the almost 80 or 90% company, rest of the company, you will say that the revenue is again high of this company, this 4 5 companies. So you will see that the few companies which are over here, few companies which are over here, those are, we can say that the startups and all, right? So that is the thing. So if you're trying to plot the box plot for this particular range, so just imagine this is my 0 and this is my somewhere here 1 plus or the 1 into e raised to 13. Okay, so normal range for these, because from this particular histogram, okay, if you see the histogram, okay, if you see the histogram, you will find that the only few companies which are there, and how many, like one or two, but most of the companies like 21 20 around companies which are over here in this particular region, right? So for that, okay, if you plot the box plot, so you will see the box plot like this, because the range is quite high. Range is quite high. If you plot the box plot in this particular region, okay, for this particular 4 5 digits, so you will see the box plot like this. Okay, you will see the box plot like this. If you're talking about only this much range, let's say only this much range, okay, you will see the box plot like this. But for full range, you will see the box plot like only one line, because this total box plot, okay, like the, if the maximum value, let's say, is 1 lakh, okay, but if we're talking about the maximum value for this particular range in billions, okay, so 1 lakh is like nothing in front of this big value, right? So that's why you will see the box plot like this, and you will see the, the values which are somewhere here. So those value, if you see, okay, like this particular value, if you see, so these values, okay, which are nothing but the outliers, if you see, right? So that's how you can identify the outliers. Understood, guys? Okay, so that's how you can just go ahead with and just find out the, the box plot, and try to understand, are there any outliers or not, okay, the range for the data set and all, right? Now let's go ahead and the fix the errors that we have in my data set. So error is nothing but the, let's say, the missing values, and or like the missing values are nothing but the errors. Okay, the errors either made by the machine or the humans. Okay, because let's say if you hired few people for, data entry kind of thing, so then you will find that, okay, like for humans error is always there, if you see. So like there might be some mistakes while, entering the data. So that's why you will see that the few data set which are few values in the data set which are missing. Okay, that is also nothing but the missing values, we can say. Now that is nothing but the error in your data, right? So let's go ahead and deal with those, right? Just find out the how many missing values are there, okay, and how to deal with that. Okay, now as we know in Python, okay, like how we just find out the missing value is null method is there, right? We just type this particular line of code, and what is that? That is my data df dot is null. Okay, that is the code, okay, that we use to write in the, you know yes, is null or is na, right? Is null dot sum. We are just finding out the like the, is there any missing value or the null values, okay, column wise. That's why I added over here is sum. Like if you wanted to go ahead and simply check the sum of missing values, okay, in this particular data set, so you can simply apply the sum again. Okay, so for that you will have to use this particular term sum, okay, and you can simply add this particular again. Okay, for this particular all the time you can simply add the sum over here. Okay, or not like this, because this is the, R studio, you can simply use the sum like this. Okay, you can use the sum like this. Okay,